Good evening, everyone, and welcome to An Hour with an Angel. Linda has undergone painful surgery on her shoulder and will be off resting for a few weeks, I'm afraid. We have a delightful surprise today, though, and that's that we have Suzanne Lie with us, filling in for Linda, who will be channeling the Arcturians today. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing me in.
Yes, indeed.
Happy to be here.
I think the last time I spoke to the Arcturians was back in March 2013, and I was, their point of view was deep and new to me in many respects, and very fulfilling. So I'm looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Okay, I think what I'd like to do is to talk to the Arcturians first about Ascension, and then about what they said 2 years ago about abundance and applied to these times now, and then see if we can get from them any details they want to share about unfolding disclosure. So that works for you? Okay.
They haven't said anything about the disclosure, so I'm not sure.
Kick that off the order.
Well, we'll try it.
Okay.
I think that they don't want to go face to face with the dark.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just sit back and do your own thing sometimes.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's fine. I very much appreciate the depth of their commentary around events like Ascension and Abundance. So that's fine. What would you like to do, Sue? Would you like me to give you a couple minutes to transition as with Linda, or shall I just begin?
Transition is good. And then also with the Arcturians, if you could just ask one question and then don't ask three, because I won't remember 2 and 3. I'll just you ask. So.
Okay. Well, that's a discipline. Yeah. Okay. I'll do anything you want to say personally, Sue, before we begin.
Oh, I'm happy to be here and happy to talk to a bunch of new folks that maybe I haven't ever talked to before. And the Arcturians are ready. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay. Well, let me just give you a little time to transition, and I'll ask my first question now.
All right. Blessings, we are here with you now, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting us.
I wanted to ask you first, in regards to Ascension, many of the ideas we developed around it have been shown either to be too small or to contain it, or in some respects mistaken. It's a much more gradual process than I expected. Can you help us understand this unfolding process of Ascension better, please?
Yes, we would be very happy to do so. We begin, as you might know, saying that third-dimensional time is an illusion. So any predictions according to third-dimensional time will, by definition, often be disappointing. There are many factors involved with Ascension, and many players that most people are not even aware of. And there is also the push-pull of those who are ready and willing and want to move forward, the dark ones who know that they will not be able to participate in that. And so they want to stop that as much as they possibly can, and who are in the process of one spectacular, fearful event to hit the world news, followed by a next spectacular, fearful event. So they are working to disseminate fear. And then there are those in the middle that are constantly being threatened by the fear and perhaps have not yet understand the multidimensional quality of unconditional love. So therefore, there are myriad different energy fields that are all occurring within the same now. So there are the energy fields of those who are ready, directed, and moving along their path. There are those who are trying to defeat and confuse and stop and halt. And there are those who are looking for a degree of proof that can only be discovered once their consciousness can expand into at least the higher fourth dimension.
You say many players, but we really don't know who those many players might be, whether you're talking, well, I imagine you're not talking about individuals in the higher dimensions, but what can you tell us? What more detail than we already have can you give us about the many players?
Well, primarily we speak of the three groups, the group that wants to go forward, the group that wants to go backwards, and the group that is afraid to go anywhere.
Oh, you're okay. I thought you were talking about the many players who are bringing ascension to us. For instance, what Matthew calls the higher universal councils who have planned ascension. And then there must be beings or groups of beings who are bringing us distinct energies on occasion. Could you take us behind the curtain and tell us how this event is being managed? Is that possible?
Yes, we would be happy to go behind the curtain, especially behind the curtain of the group of those who are ready to move forward and the energy field and the thought forms that create those energy fields of those who are ready to move forward. Because, as we have often said, where your attention is, there you are also. So if one were to spend a great deal of their attention, which morphs into intention, on the darkness, then they can become tainted by that energy field. And if one allows themselves to just stay where it is comfortable and not take a risk to move on into a greater possible reality, then they put their attention on that. Then that's where they have chosen to live. For attention is how you connect with realities. Now, there are many realities, and all of the many beings who are assisting are presenting, perhaps we would say, portals. Now, all these portals go into the same area. However, because humanity has moved into such great diversity, we, the beings of light, are more than happy to present slightly different portals to the same place. Now, there is, of course, the angelic kingdom, and they present a feeling of love and forgiveness and spirituality that many people find comforting, and they are happy to enter into that portal. Now, there are also other beings, such as the Andromedans, who are very technical, very scientific. However, they do move beyond time and live within the now, for they are fifth dimensional and beyond. And because they're in a different galaxy, they are somewhat different. Now, there are many people that appreciate that door, and they will go there. And then there are like Sana Kumara, who is holding the light within the core of Gaia, and Kutumi, who is holding the light within the core of Gaia, to open those portals and to pull those portals into the oneness of the central crystal and the four cornerstone crystals. Now, there are many beings for many names. There are Elohim, the Elohim are very focused on the process of creation. And we, the Arcturians, have a strong amount of our beingness within that Elohim. Therefore, when we communicate with the Earth ones, we communicate in a how can you create this form? Whereas the angelic kingdom will communicate with a I love you deeply, have faith, and I am here to assist you. Then there are the Ascended Masters who are also quite educational, and they are constantly working with, like Archangel Michael is offering his wonderful blue sword to assist people to keep their auras clear and to maintain their vision of the light. And Saint Germain is very much working with the violet flame to help to transmute. So there are many different doorways that go into that same room. Did you have more questions about that?
Oh my gosh, I've got so many questions about that. Before I go into those questions, though, I'm not sure that I personally I just met a person who is an incarnated Elohim, I believe last weekend, and I don't really think I know what the Elohim are. They're not angels. Is that correct?
No, they are different.
Is there any way to say in a few words what the Elohim are?
Yes, that is, there are the first three rays of life, the force of creation. Number one is the masculine God force, who sets forth that, who initiates that it is the now for something new to begin. And that is then sent to the goddess, the second ray of the goddess, the sacred mother, who gestates that idea. And together they have created this child. And then the Elohims are the creators of form. And they are the ones that assist this divine ideal to come into the form of the lower worlds of form.
So they're just a different group of beings, is that correct? And they have that special task and the powers that go along with it. Is that correct so far?
Just like you know that there is a God and there the God energy, then there is the goddess energy. Yes. The God energy initiates with the sperm, the divine ideal. The goddess energy, the more female energy, gestates it into life. And then the Elohim energy makes sure that it is grounded and that it is created within the chosen reality.
All right. You then mentioned that Sanat Kumara and the Master Kutumi are holding the light. What is entailed? Because Sanat Kumara is doing many things, right? And so this activity of holding the light, what is involved in that?
They are much like transmitters in a way. If you were to think in terms of regular light, light is everywhere. It moves throughout the planet, and then there are major towers that collect that light, that information. Light and information are one to us. Light and information, you do not differentiation between information and light. They are the same. Light is light language and the information that is needed to create. And so then that goes into the control tower that collapses it, and then it has to be grounded. Everything has to be grounded if it's going to be experienced within that reality. And so it is grounded then in the core of the planet. And because this light is of a much higher frequency than the humans of Gaia are used to assimilating, and because it is constantly and slowly stepping up, the Ascended Masters are assisting with grounding and disseminating. And because they all went through that process of taking an earth vessel and consciously returning to their highest light of themselves, ascending, they have a deep understanding of what the humans who are also in that process of ascending need in order to keep on their trail, so to speak.
Wow, cooperative effort. I apologize for the noise in the background. There's some reconstruction going on. It hasn't been happening for quite a while, and all of a sudden today it happens again.
That is fine, because we are in the process of reconstruction of the entire
That's so true. We often think about ascension, and we think about it from an either-or place, that ascension is either gradual or sudden. And I understand that it's both, but so far we're experiencing the gradual part of it with a little peak, like the September 27th, 28th wave of energy. But can you tell us, is there any discrete event called ascension? Are we to expect on one day an event called ascension to happen, or is it all going to be gradual?
Well, first off, we have to remind all the listeners again that ascension is not a third dimensional activity. Ascension is a multidimensional activity, and it is an activity, a process in which one leaves the time of the third and fourth dimension and goes into the now and the here and the one of the fifth dimension and beyond. And so, to answer a question about time, the only answer is that each person will ascend within the now that they are ready.
Wow. Boy, that is a brain teaser. But you're saying for a 3D, 4D person, but you're saying that when a person ascends is in effect up to them, are you not?
What we were saying is ascension is a state of consciousness. All of the higher dimensions are all in existence. Creation begins at the highest frequency and moves down to the lowest frequency. So once one is inhabiting a lowest frequency, all those higher frequencies already exist. They are not creating the higher frequency. They are not making that higher frequency. They are in the process of recalibrating their consciousness to a frequency in which they can perceive that higher frequency. Because you can only perceive that which resonates to the state of your consciousness.
Right.
And as beings expand their consciousness into higher and higher frequencies, they are able to perceive more and more of what it is they are supposed to do, what they said by supposed to do. What we are speaking of is there are many, many beings, most of them known as light workers, some of them not known as light workers. Some of them are actually hidden within the darkness, and those are very, very brave beings. And there are many higher dimensional beings who have shared their spark with a physical vessel. And in doing so, they have actually moved into this lower frequency of reality so that they can assist others in expanding their consciousness, so that they can expand their perceptions, so that they can perceive the light and the love that already exist, but is imperceptible to those lower frequencies of perception.
Now you said share their spark with other people. That's a topic that we discussed some time ago. What is involved when one of these higher beings shares their spark with somebody?
Well, first off, a higher dimensional expression, likely someone that is on a fifth-dimensional planet and or a multidimensional starship. And many Pleiadians, many Arcturians, many Sirians, more and more Andromedans, some from Tau Ceti, some from Alpha Centauri, some from Antares. They have come to assist the planet. They have come to assist Gaia because they know that a planet is a living being. What third-dimensional humanity thinks of Gaia is a big rock that is theirs, that they get to live on and do anything they want to. What they don't realize that it is a living being. However, the higher dimensional perspectives know that the planet is a living being, and they have taken earth vessels so that they can assist with the ascension of the planet, so that Gaia can transmute into her higher frequencies. And as she transmutes into her higher frequencies, then those who have transmuted into their higher frequencies will be aware. Now, if you were to look back to, say, the early 90s when Suzanne first began speaking with us, you would see that reality was very, very, very different than it is now. Reality has changed. Now,
how has it changed? Can you give us some examples of the change that you see?
Yes, one of the greatest changes is that more and more people are able to believe that there are higher beings that are speaking to them. More and more people are able to actually allow this higher being's message to go into them, and they transcribe it and they share it with others. More and more people are realizing that they are not just a human being. They are remembering. Suzanne hears about this all the time. They are remembering the planets where they came from. They're remembering their life in the higher frequencies. They are remembering why they came here, and they are seeking to fulfill the mission that they chose. So there is a great awakening.
Okay, thank you for that. I personally, after the heightened energies of September 27th, 28th, went into what I called a transformed space, probably around 16, 17 times. And Archangel Michael characterized that as a trip through the Ascension portal. For me, it was a movement from unconscious awareness to conscious awareness, from ordinary love to transformative love, from no bliss to bliss. But I said to myself, well, this can't be a trip through the Ascension portal, because I expected myself to be, I don't know what, much more elevated or something. Is this how it all starts, or is this? Can you talk about a little bit about what our experience of the ascending process will be, please?
We can talk about some possible realities. However, Gaia is a very diverse planet, and there are myriad different types of people. And we do not want anyone to think, oh, I must have that happen to me, or that means I'm not ascending. Many different people have many very different experiences. So we will try to represent the different types of experiences that people may have. And we will do it in a somewhat sequential fashion. in that usually it begins that they become disenchanted with their third dimensional reality. They begin to realize that there has to be more than just getting a job and just getting money and just accumulating and just having parties and rearing children. There's more. There's more. They know there's more. They don't know what it is, but they feel a calling inside of them. Something is not dissatisfied, but something is urging for more. Something reminds them that that which they were trained to think of as success is not enough. And that which they were trained to think of as failure very often is that very catalyst that puts them into an entirely different state of consciousness so that they can change their perceptions and begin to realize that they are different, that there are new urges inside of them, and there's this new kind of love that doesn't have condition, that they can actually love someone that isn't very nice. They can actually send this unconditional love to other people and other situations, and the situation changes. They're actually realizing that where their attention is, there they are also. And if they put their attention on that which is troubling them, that grows. But if they send that unconditional love to that which is bothering them, and they put their attention on this feeling of light, of love, of ability to transmute, to shift, to know, and they begin to study, they look, they go on the internet, they go to websites, they read new books, they become hungry for something new, and their consciousness soaks it in. And then they begin by having perceptions that they were never able to have before. Very often this begins by seeing perhaps an aura. And maybe they don't actually see the aura, but they will notice that they will come to one person and they will just want to embrace the person and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm so happy to see you again," even though they know they'll never see them in this lifetime. And on the other hand, they might go into a room and see across the room that someone is standing there that they will not trust, they will not talk to, and in fact, they will send that person that very unconditional love. So they are beginning to gather a sense of discernment that was not possible via their third dimensional perspectives. Do you understand what we are saying?
I do. Yes. In fact, I've experienced some of those states and developments that you're talking about. Would you like to continue? Is there more? I think there is there not?
Yes, there is the remembering component. Now, this is when they begin to remember. And they remember things within themselves as if it is themselves. But it's impossible because they've never been on a starship. They've never been on a planet that's completely different. They've never walked over to a replicator, opened the door, and pulled out the clothes they're going to wear today. They've never gone into a car that flies above the ground. They've never done those things, but they remember them as if they're actually doing them. And what they are getting is coming, what do you call a trailer?
Yes.
Adventures
Preview, yes.
of New Earth. They are, because their consciousness is expanded to embrace that now of a completely different type of reality, a reality that has no polarities, a reality in having no polarities. It has no good, it has no bad. This, it has no good, it has no bad, it has nothing in between where people get lost and try to figure out who they are. And because there is no good, there is no bad, there is no polarities, there is no separation. And then they begin to look at people, all people, even people that are sick or wounded or in need or poverty-stricken, or people that are mean or part of the Illuminati, who they begin to understand what the Illuminati means. And they begin to look back into history and see everything that they have ever known from a different perspective. And many, many people are offering this up on the internet. So the information is very available for everyone to get once they're interested.
Right. From my own experience, I've noticed people listening may wonder, well, how does it happen that you just start experiencing universal love and looking upon everybody with love, et cetera, and from my own experience, when the bliss comes, it utterly obliterates my worry, and it utterly obliterates distinction between one person and another. There's no impetus to engage in that kind of activity of distinguishing one person from another. And it's as if the bliss drowns the worries or sweeps them aside or something. Is that what you're referring to, or what you were referring to just a little while ago?
Yes, we are.
Is it the impact of the bliss?
We are referring to that state of consciousness that humans have often called bliss.
A state of consciousness. Is that the fifth dimensional state of consciousness? Is the fifth dimensional state of consciousness in fact bliss?
Well, let us give a bit of history before we answer that question, and then we will answer that question.
Okay.
First off, Gaia was so deep in darkness for so long that many of those who once were thought to have ascended was only, no one even knew that there was a fifth dimension. They only knew that there was a fourth dimension because they went to sleep and they went to this place and they meditated and they talked to shaman and they were within that fourth dimension because that is a part of the third dimension. It is your aura. And so they were able to go to that peak of the fourth dimension, that the spiritual plane, the I am presence, but they were not yet able to go into that next octave of the fifth dimension. And what has occurred is that more and more people are able to make that octave shift. Now, you said something about when. First off, the thing about the octave shift is that when you leave the third, fourth dimension, you leave time as you know it. So when you go into that octave shift, like when you had your moments of bliss, that you don't have your watch out, you're not looking, okay, I'm going to time how long I'm in this bliss. Because as soon as you looked at your watch and started to time it, your consciousness would lower and your bliss would be gone.
Right.
And if you just happen to look at the clock before and happen to look at the clock after, you might be able to see what the time plane is. But usually it is when you're so disassociated from time that you have no idea what time it is, that you are able to allow yourself to surrender into that bliss, because time is a nag. Oh, wait, it's time to pay your bills. Oh, wait, it's time to answer the email. Oh, wait, have you made your phone calls yet? And so time has to be released because it is a horrible taskmaster, isn't it?
Yes, I even forgot a lunch appointment I had and ran all the way to the restaurant afterwards. But
exactly.
So it is that way. Time. There is no attention on time. As I say, I mean, I really have no understanding of what the fifth dimension will feel like. So all we can do, or all I can do, is really rely on your descriptions and rely on some kind of knowledge. And it's rather like groping in a dark room.
Actually, no, because the fifth dimension is not something that you understand. Understanding is a third dimensional concept. You have to release, you meaning all of you, need to release the addiction to time-bound, sequential, third dimensional thinking. Because the fifth dimension is within the now. And so what occurs is in that fifth dimension, very often it is almost like an accident, where like the perfect storm, where it just turns out that your thoughts are clear, your emotions are loving, you're not feeling a lot of pressure, and you're just relaxing and enjoying your life, and maybe you're doing some mantras or in a state of meditation, and then, ooh, you feel this feeling that very often begins with the kundalini waking up from the base of your spine, and the spine begins to undulate, and your body is filled with light, and your thoughts are no longer combined with your third dimensional brain. It's like, wow, this is a great ride. It is a wonderful feeling. And once people get that feeling, they go, oh, I want that feeling again. That's amazing. You didn't have to work out first. You didn't have to change your diet. You didn't have to meditate for 12 days. You didn't have to do anything. You just were able to have that moment where you let go of the third, fourth dimension.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely had that, and it's wonderful. Please continue. What happens after that?
What happens after that? Well, that is something that each of you will need to discover for yourself, because that is when you are the creator of your reality. Now, this is why we have been speaking through Suzelle and through others all about becoming the master of your thinking, the master of your emotions. Because if the penny drops, if the light arrives and you have this moment and you go, oh no, I can't deserve this, okay then, it's over. Mm-hmm. And so at that moment, when this comes in, you have to have this practice of, oh, this is it, thank you, I accept, thank you, blessings be, thank you, I accept, thank you, blessings. And then you accept, I accept. And you don't, I accept this but not that. So you accept all or none, because there is no differentiation within that frequency. If you were to say, I accept the good part about this experience, but I don't accept the bad part, well, there is no bad part. So right away, your consciousness went right down into the third dimension, into the third and fourth dimension, where there are polarities. So once one has this experience, you really have to let go. You have to let go of all your third, fourth dimensional thinking. You have to let go of polarities. You have to let go of thought. You have to go of right, wrong, all those limitations that have been fed to you in your third, fourth dimensional realities.
Now, bliss itself will make that easier to let them go.
The bliss is what allows, the bliss gives you something to leap into. Mm-hmm. But you still have the choice to leap into it or to step back and analyze it.
Yes, yeah.
When you leap into it, you're there. When you analyze it, you're out of there.
It's interesting because some of what you're saying goes well past terrestrial sages, even ones who claim to be avatars and what have you. Doug Freejohn, for example, used to say it's all about radical understanding. I don't think he meant by understanding what you're pointing to. I don't think he meant a mental operation. It's probable that he meant acceptance.
Well, this is why it is important to release all addictions to third-dimensional language systems. Because third-dimensional language systems like to put labels on things. And labels have different meanings to different people.
Yes.
And this is not something that is different to anyone, and even the people aren't different. When you moved into the downess of the one, you are within the unity of all life. Mm-hmm. And therefore there is no understanding is a third-dimensional concept, which means if you have to understand, that means you don't understand.
Yes.
So there is that polarity of yes, I understand, no, I don't understand. Accepting is faith. Faith in the feeling of bliss. Now, some people have problems that they will have the bliss, and then that inner voice comes in that says, you don't deserve it. Well, blessings be to that inner voice, because it drops you right out of your bliss, and then you turn around and you say, hello, inner voice, who are you? I think I need to heal you right away. So whoever it is, ollie auction, free, come out and talk to me or disappear forever.
Supposing we're comfortably on dry land in the fifth dimension, I hope I have used an appropriate simile, and that is not the end of the journey of ascension, is it? Just simply arriving on the fifth dimension. There's more to it, is there not?
Yes, ascension is a multi-dimensional process, and it goes on. There is no ending to it.
I hear you, but the ascension that all of you have come here to help us with, my understanding is that the kind of conclusion, the end point for this part of the operation, is a permanent heart opening, is Sahaja Samadhi. Am I correct in that?
Yes, the heart-mind becomes one. And the mind is a multidimensional mind, and the heart has a fully opened and revealed threefold flame of wisdom, power, and love.
Yeah.
Because there is no separation. Your mind and your heart are not separated. Your right hand and your left hand are not separated. There is no separation.
Right.
There is unity within the now of the one here. We are here within the unity of the now of the one.
Yes. Well, here I am pushing labels again. But I'm trying to understand this process in order to be able to write about it for others who don't understand it at all, perhaps. They're just awakening or whatever. And so...
Let us interrupt for just one moment.
Please.
The questions are wonderful because you speak with many people and you have an awareness of the types of questions that people would like to ask, and we are more than happy to answer those questions. However, once over the line, once within that nowness, for as long as that nowness can be experienced while still holding a physical form, there is this opening of the portal. And once we, the galactics, the ascended masters, the angelic kingdom, see that wide open portal, we just put as much information through that portal as we can. And when that person comes back on their ground, it's like, oh, how will I ever write this all down?
You have a standing invitation with me, that's for sure. We've been told that there will be an event called Ascension, and the galactics and angelics will be ready to welcome us. And is that really the case? Is there an event called Ascension, or is this just going to be a gradual process that goes on forever?
Now, this is going to confuse you, but we will say it anyway. From the third dimensional perspective, there is a description of how a third dimensional human has said that it will occur for themselves, because they are still holding their third dimensional self, and if they were not in quite a bit of connection with their third dimensional self, they would not have laid out this sequential process of how it is for everyone. For within the third dimension, there is absolute freedom for everyone to experience ascension exactly the way they have chosen to experience it. Because once one is returning to that fifth dimensional state of their personal mastery, once they're actually within the fifth dimension, they have left behind that personal mastery because they've gone into the land of unity. But there is this jumping off point. So each person goes to their personal mastery, however it is they go through their personal mastery, and many and more are sharing their type of personal mastery so that anyone that resonates to that type of personality, frequency, culture, gender, upbringing can say, wow, yeah, I could do that. That feels good to me. I think I could do that. I couldn't do it like this guy said or that guy said or that woman said, but I think I could do it like this person said. And so those beings that are sharing their process, they are gathering other like-minded beings. And unity is absolutely vital for the ascension of a planet. And so there is as the person has, it's usually, like you said, you're just a regular person, and then you have an ascended experience, and then bang, back to a regular person. Then you're a regular person, ascended being, back down. All right. Why? Why do you go back and forth? Because you didn't come to ascend yourself. You're already a multidimensional being. You're already ascended. You came to ascend the planet. Mm-hmm. And you have to remember how you did that so that you can share it with others, so they can remember how to do that. And so it's no longer you one person. You is you 2, 4, 8, 10, 16,000, 4,000, 10,000 other people that are all opening this massive portal. Do you see the difference in just one person saying, oh, goody, I get to ascend now?
Yes, it can be embarrassing at times because I have my friends around me who are speeding ahead, having wonderful experiences, and then saying to me, well, come on. I have to say, no, my job is to go up, steadily with everybody else and write about it.
Absolutely. It's the same for Suzanne.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain meditations that she does not do because she knows if she would do them, she would likely go into light body.
Right.
And so she chooses to not do them because it is not her now.
Yes.
She has not yet completed her mission, nor have you.
No, interesting, is it not? Can we spend a moment, just a moment before, after this moment, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about abundance, but just closing this section out, the physical body itself, compared even with the fourth dimensional astral body, which I've experienced, the third dimensional physical body is dense. It's like hard rubber compared to the downiness of the fourth dimensional body, the astral body. Yeah. What is the impact on us of walking around in this as the energies increase? What is the physical body's contribution to our coming back, so to speak, and not being able to fly freely?
I don't quite understand that kind of a question.
Well, if we weren't talking in the Ascension area, if we were talking with people in the growth movement, they'd be pointing out that our bodies have bands of muscular tension, which restrain and restrict our awareness. That when muscular tension goes up, for instance, awareness goes down. The physical body has a large impact on us. And I wondered if you could speak for a moment on the impact that just...
Yes, okay, now we understand.
Okay,
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So we will tell you in a sort of an allegory. On our starships are alive beings. We are alive beings. We are not separate from our starship. Our starship is not separate from us. Those of you who are still within the illusion of being an individual have your individual starship, which is your physical body. Now, just as we must consistently maintain and take care of and unconditionally love our starship so that we can travel the galaxy, you must continually maintain, stay in alignment, listen to, and care for your personal starship physical body so that you can take your maiden voyage out to the galaxies yourself.
Sorry.
And so therefore, one of the things that occurs is that your physical body is an animal. Now, animals know what they need. If you have a dog will know when it's hungry. A dog will know when it needs water. A dog will know when you're happy. A dog will know when you're sad. So your physical body is a wonderful information system. But like all information systems, you have to keep it calibrated. If your computer wasn't calibrated, if your calibration was off to the internet, you wouldn't get the internet. You have to calibrate your consciousness with your physical body. Your physical body gives you a lot of information about ascension. Your physical body will first off say, if you eat this food, let me see how your light body, we will show you how your light body will respond. Now, Suzanne, it just started, her whole diet was absolutely completely changed because certain foods her body would not allow. Now, then the body will say, you must run this energy through me if you want me to be a highly functional body. And so you have to do your yoga or do your exercise or get acupuncture or get a massage. So your body becomes the living being that is telling you how to transmute physicality into a higher frequency. Do you understand what we are saying?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. I think what I need to do, because we're running a little out of time, so I probably need to switch over to the topic of abundance, if that is all right with you.
That is fine. It's a very third-dimensional topic. We will be happy.
Yes. You mentioned back in March 2013 that abundance, the arrival of abundance, was a matter of frequency or vibration. Can you talk to us a bit about what has happened since 2013 to our frequency and what the impact is on the approach of abundance, please?
What has happened is that the light has got lighter and the dark has got darker because the separation of worlds has begun.
Wow, why don't we talk about the separation of worlds in the next time we meet, because that's a topic unto itself. That's fascinating. But please continue.
So, therefore, third dimensional abundance is measured in terms of money, in terms of financial prosperity. This is a relatively, if you look at the entire age of Gaia, it's a relatively new concept that was brought on by the very people that control the money, the Illuminati. It used to be that you were abundant if you had a healthy farm and healthy children and good neighbors, and everybody came together, and the people that had the crops shared the crops, the people that had the animals shared the meat. Everybody worked together as one person, just like on New Earth. Nobody even had a purse. Nobody didn't have money. You might have a little bit of, quote, money stuffed under your mattress, but you didn't spend money. You shared with each other. But then the Illuminati came in with television and began to tell everyone that they had to buy this, they had to buy that you are a good person if you have enough money to buy this. And then it all began about getting the money to give what you wanted, whereas before you got what you wanted with work and camaraderie. Now, of course, that happened before television, but the real domination of money over spirituality began with the commercials on the television sets.
Not with ads in, say, magazines. Well, I guess not to that extent.
No, no.
Interesting.
You could flip the page to not look at the ad, but on the television, the commercial was there. You had to watch the whole commercial to get back to your show.
Interesting. So, gee, boy, I don't know how we can discuss this without not discussing the separation of the world. Maybe we should leave this particular discussion to next time.
Let us say one thing.
Yes.
Abundance is a state of consciousness. Now, when one goes into the state of consciousness of I am an abundant person, and when one says, Thanksgiving for the substance at hand will duplicate the substance indefinitely, they have the ability to welcome that into their reality. Now, many people get a lot of money and blast right through it as if it didn't even exist. Now, people love money. People hate money. But money is just a means of exchange of energy. Back in South America, there was so much gold that it meant nothing. Oh, another gold rock. So the Incas, they made ornate tapestry, and that was their money. So money was something that it's hard to get, so therefore it has value, and so you can exchange it. It's hard to get valuable thing so that you can get something else that you want. And as you transmute into your fifth dimensional consciousness, your ability to create your reality greatly expands. And what you need comes to you. Sometimes it comes to you in that you got money to purchase it. And more often than not, it comes to you because it is your now and you are able to accept it.
Boy, I know for myself, I have a monk's inclination, so I have a lot of work to do in this area because I have this unconscious thought that non-attachment is bliss, and it's very hard for me to get into topics like creativity and abundance as you just described it.
Well, everyone has their own path that they have chosen to be the representative of within that incarnation. And as we all become, all of us, meaning all of those who are wearing physical vessels at this nowness, as all of us awaken more and more, our powers of creativity begin to increase, and our resourcefulness increases, our intelligence increases, our creativity increases, because we are moving in to the fifth dimension where thoughts become manifest.
Yes.
Therefore, if you have a negative thought, that becomes manifest, and it throws you right out of the fifth dimension.
Wow. That's going to be an exciting development to see our thoughts made manifest.
Went through great long periods of mastery of their thoughts. If one cannot master their thoughts, they cannot achieve ascension, because your thoughts, what you think about, you bring about. That's what this planet is. And if you think about something negative, you're going to bring it about. And if you have a fifth dimensional consciousness or a higher dimensional consciousness, you'll bring it about quicker. But what you think about, you bring about.
Very interesting. Do you have any final words before we wrap up the program today?
Our final words are to love yourself unconditionally, to respect yourself unconditionally, and to know that as long as you are loving and respecting yourself, you know that you are fulfilling your mission, because your mission is filled with unconditional love, unconditional respect, and the ability to transmute your reality with the violet fire.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. It's been so good to have you, and we're going to have you back again in 2 weeks, which I'm really looking forward to.
Great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Thank you so much. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.